get online. Welcome, everybody. Hello, and please say hello and let us know where you're dialing in from as well. We have schools from all over the world, so yeah, please say hello. Let us know where you're dialing in from. I will share our agenda for today, and then we will get cracking. 1 second there. Hi, everybody. Okay, so having trouble sharing the agenda there, apologies, but I'll run through it quickly. We'll do a quick intro here, and then we'll get into the latest updates from Teach and Go, what's been added in the last few months, and also a couple of tips that will help. After that, we'll get into the tools that will help you grow. We'll talk a little bit about prospects and our booking system. We'll also then follow up with a little bit about some of our upcoming features, and then we'll close with a general Q&A, where you'll be able to ask some of your questions. Yeah, so while I'm going through the topics, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask a question relevant to that topic, and then we'll discuss it there. If there's another question, we can deal with it later on in a Q&A. Yes, Jeanette, it will be recorded. So we will share it with you. I think you might get an automatic email from Livestorm is what we're using to record these. Okay, so I'll share my screen and we'll get into it. So 1 second. Okay, so I think you should all be able to see my screen. I'll jump in and out of the chat after discuss every topic, and then I'll cover anything that needs to be covered. So keep chatting away there if there's anything relevant to discuss. Okay, so yeah, you're all familiar with Teach and Go, so I won't go into too much of the basics, but I'll cover some of the latest updates now. We'll go through that, and then if you have any questions, just as I said, please let me know. So I'll touch on a few of the latest updates. I'll go into the school settings first. Okay, so first thing I'll go through is the school holiday feature that we've added. This is going to be really useful to set your holidays for the year. Previous to this, it was a case that you might have to delete some lessons or create blocks of lessons around holidays. Now, what you can do, you can create a new holiday, and then automatically lessons will be skipped. When you create lessons, those days will automatically be skipped. If there's any lessons already on those days, they can be deleted as well. So it's a real time saver. It's useful, obviously, to set the holidays at the start of the year, so you know that those days will be missed, will be skipped. In here as well, and another recent feature that we've added is around renaming behaviors. So I know behaviors might seem a little for children or a little childish. So we have now, we've added the ability to rename it. So something that maybe sounds a little bit more professional, performance or skills can be used. And then, of course, you can rename each behavior. So that's really useful. You can name it. It can be, for example, if you're in a language school, it can be vocabulary, grammar, that type of thing that you can give stars or flags for. I'll jump back to the dashboard now. I'll open up a lesson from today's schedule. So in here, we've added the ability to postpone lessons. So it's possible to postpone a lesson. If a lesson is postponed, it stays in the system rather than it being cancelled. Might be useful to keep a track of all the postponed lessons. Maybe some people still need to get paid for a postponed lesson, etc. So it's a useful tool. We'll postpone this lesson just to give you a little bit of visibility of how it will look. So you can see here, it'll be marked as postponed. When we open up the lesson card, it'll also be postponed here. In the calendar, it'll be highlighted in gray, so you can identify it easily. Is it possible to unpostpone the lesson as well? And it's back live again. Another really cool feature that we've added recently is the ability to go to the next lesson directly from the lesson card. So depending on what page you're on, it will go to the next lesson. So we're on the calendar right now, so it will go to the next lesson in the calendar. So it might be the same day, it could be the next day of the week. So that's really cool to swap, just switch easily, quickly switch rather than coming out and then going to the new lesson. If we do that from the dashboard, it will go to the next lesson in the dashboard. So, oh, sorry. Not again. So down here, it will go to the next lesson. You can see here, we don't have a previous lesson from the dashboard. And if we go to the class details page is when you can see it lesson by lesson. So as you can see here, this is the 15th. We can go to the 19th and then the next lesson and so on. So just a useful way to get around. I see Diane has a question. Would a postponed lesson count towards the hours taught? No, it doesn't count in those hours. We also have a help article on it to kind of give a bit more detail. So it might be useful as well to check that out. We're trying to update our help center regularly and add all our features, all our frequently asked questions show up in there as well. So it's a good question. Thanks, Diana. The next bit I'm going to talk about is around classes and creating classes and courses. So I'll jump into here. So you can see here we rename classes to courses. That's also another thing that we can do, very similar to renaming the behaviors from school settings. So I know some of you, everybody can call it different. We've heard classes and modules and courses and so on. So it is possible to rename that if that works out better for you. So we've added a few little, I'm going to create a class and I'll talk about it. So let's say we're adding German. Down here, let's create a weekly class on Wednesday. So let's say it's going on for 2 weeks. It's going to be every Wednesday at 11. So first of all, you can see here we've added a little feature to tell you how many lessons are going to be created and what the total lesson hours are as well. So we know that some schools will create classes and courses based off hours. So it can be really useful to, if you adjust the dates, the lessons will be adjusted as well. I'm going to add a student here. I know this student is already in another class at the same time. What we've also added now is student conflicts. So we've already have classroom conflicts and teacher conflicts, but now it'll also tell you if the student is studying in another class at the same time. So again, it can be really useful to avoid double booking a student. So that will appear whenever we create a class or edit a class or enroll a student later on in the class. You'll still get the conflicts there. So again, it's really useful to make sure that there's no frustration later on. Staying on the topic of classes, another addition that we've added is important classes. It might be timely now before the start of a lot of terms. You might have a lot of classes to create. It's possible now to import classes, very similar to how we import people. We do have a help center article to kind of go into a bit of detail about how to go through the various steps, but we can download a template. And once we download the template, there's some instructions or there's some sample rows. Let me open it and maybe I will be able to. Not sure if this live storm will let me share. But if it doesn't, I will try again. Yeah, so I'm not able to share that, unfortunately. But what I will do is, um, yeah, it is possible to see the template yourselves. There is some rows. I'll give a brief explanation. There's a few rows on it, and they're the sample rows. So just to give you the different types of conditions that you need to fill in. It's a little bit more complex than the people because there is some certain conditions around the days of the week and the hourly or monthly fees and so on. So if you follow the samples in the template, you'll be able to implement it. Again, if you come across any issues, please feel free to reach out. The tool here, the import tool, is really good because it will point out the errors before you upload anything as well. So it will help you to correct. You'll be able to correct in here in a very similar way that we do with the import people. So it might be a little bit of a learning curve to get your heads around it first time around, but it will be a time saver later on, and especially if your school has a lot of classes being added regularly. One more thing around classes, I'll jump into school settings here. It's also possible to add class types now, which can be useful. If you need to filter for certain types of classes. So if I go back into a class and we'll edit this class so that we can give you a little bit of how it would work. Then later on, for example, if we go to the calendar, we have the course type here. If we put in type 1, you'll be able to see only the type 1 classes. So again, really useful tool in case you need to group the classes together. Speaking about grouping, I will cover this topic that I did cover in our last webinar, but it is a really useful tool, a really powerful tool if used correctly. So I will go through it again just in case anybody's didn't miss the last webinar. You might have noticed that we've added the ability to add all your fields and custom fields in here. So really useful in case you need to see more information. Once we have the information shown, we can search for it. So if I want to see everybody who's in Berlin, we can get the 3 students in Berlin. We can highlight all of them, and then we can put them in a specific course, or we can send an email or add a note or add a fee as well. So really useful in case you need to group students together. Works kind of like a tagging system. Okay, so that's a quick review of some of the tips. I'm going to jump into the chat just to see if there's any questions around that. Okay, so Paul has a question. Does it edit a header line on day so it's easy to understand the reason for the holiday, for example? The calendar will be blank on that day and we won't show anything. But yes, it is good feedback. So we could like gray out that day, something just to be able to highlight to you that it is a holiday. So we can look at that. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to jump into our next topic now, which is around some tools to help you with growth. So I'm going to talk about prospects. I'm going to talk about the booking system. So let's have a look at prospects first. So you're probably familiar with the prospect section in the people. Some of you are using it. Maybe some of you would like to use it. I'm not too sure how to use it. So we'll cover a few aspects about it. Maybe we'll start this at the top. So obviously you're looking to get as many leads into your school. as possible. So we have a few different ways to do that. We have an API, so it is possible for your website to be linked with Teach and Go, and information directly from your website can appear in the prospect section of Teach and Go. We also have a ready-made prospect page that each school has. This can be shared on your website or in any Facebook or anywhere that your students might show up, potential students. This registration form, we'll have a quick look at it. So with the registration form, it is possible to edit these headings from the school settings. So sorry. Okay, here it is. Sorry, just need to share the tab. It is possible to edit these headings from the school settings. So in here, if you put in a new message, it will appear up here. Also, your custom fields will show here by default, and you can select which ones you want to show on the form. So between these two, you will have a ready-made registration form that you can share with potential students. If somebody sends you an email inquiry, you can send them this form, and as I said, put on your website, Facebook. Once the student fills this in, let's jump into the people section. They will appear as a prospect. The admin will be notified. They'll be notified that a new prospect has been registered through email and also through the notifications on the dashboard. Once they're a prospect, there's a lot of things that we can do. We can add notes. We can set reminders for future dates. Useful feature, we can let somebody else know that they need to please send brochure. So at the same time, we could let somebody else in the school know that there's an action that they need to accomplish. We can change the status. In our school settings, it's possible to change the statuses. So these are default statuses that we've put in for you. But from the school settings, it is possible to update these statuses. I'll take a quick detour. And here, it is possible to add more statuses. It is possible to hide the default statuses with the exception of new and enrolled. So it is possible to have your own statuses to be able to manage your leads better. Okay, so you can keep track of everything that's happening with your prospect. And hopefully later on, after you've been able to track them and keep hold of them, and hopefully none of them are falling through the cracks now, we can convert them to a student. You can convert them to students with the notes that you've captured. And we've created a student. Now the student has a profile and we can add them to courses, and we can do everything else that the students can do. So throughout the whole process, there's minimal input. You don't need to put in any details of the student. This is already captured either through a form on your website or through the prospect registration. It's just a case of making sure that your prospects list is kept up to date and making sure that you're corresponding with them, and hopefully they will convert. We also have integrations with HubSpot. If any of you are using HubSpot out there to capture leads, we also have an integration with HubSpot, and there's some instructions in our help center about how to complete that. So any new contacts that are coming in through HubSpot will automatically become prospects in Teach and Go, and you can manage the prospect lifecycle in Teach and Go. It'll also sync back with your HubSpot, and yeah, hopefully they will convert to students. We've seen some schools, feedback from some of the schools that do use the prospect section is just less prospects falling through the cracks. They're able to maintain information on all of them, especially if there's multiple people working on a prospect. They can all keep on the same page rather than communication going back and forth and things being lost. Hope that would be useful. Jeanette has a question. With the subscription fee, is it based only on student numbers, or do prospects count towards the numbers? Prospects don't count towards the numbers at all. Only when they are converted to a student would they count towards the number. So I see some schools with close to 10,000 prospects. So no problem there in having as many prospects as you need. You can communicate with them, and while they're in the prospect list, send them email marketing and so on, and keep track of them there, and so on. Follow-up questions. What about teachers and contacts and admin? Yeah, it's exactly the same. The only thing that we will base our plans on is on student count. Trying to keep it nice and simple, not too confusing. Once that's covered, it's unlimited amount of teachers or prospects or admin or classes as well. So I hope that answers the question. Okay. Next, I'm going to jump into the booking system. This has also been introduced in the last year. Fairly powerful tool if you can get to set up your classes on it. So we'll go through it now to give you a high level view. Again, you'll find that there's always some help articles. So don't be afraid to check those out to make sure that you understand how it works. Okay, so we'll go through some of these general settings. The booking system is split into two. There's a class booking system, and then there's a lesson booking system. I'll go through those in just a moment. So let's turn both of them on first of all, so that we can get visibility of both. Each school again has their own link, so this can be shared with students, or it can be put on your website. Different forms of what, depending on what you need it to do. Also, when you activate this, there will be a link in the student portal. We'll give you a look at it in a moment. So I'll click on the link. I'll share this tab instead. And in here we can, two options. We can register for a course or book lessons. If I go down to register for a course, you can see here it will advertise a course that we've created. Okay, so at the moment, I've selected that it only shows one course. There is some options here. We can choose all active and scheduled courses. And let me switch again. Let me refresh the page here. Now we're going to see all our active and scheduled courses. The student can choose from these courses. There's some filter options to kind of get a bit more detail about what they need to find. They can enroll directly from here. As we can see, we're not logged in at the moment. An existing student will need to log in. A new student can register and then enroll in the course. And I will switch over to a student for just a moment, just to give you an idea. So I'm in as a student now, in the student portal. You can see there's an option here that leads into the booking system as well. And in here, and if you come through the portal, you're automatically logged in. So again, really useful in case you need to get your students to book more classes, or you want to advertise your courses. Okay, so back here. So there's a few options there. You can select whether you want to take upfront payments. So for this, you will need to have set up your Stripe or PayPal integration, and then it would be possible for you to receive payments as a student is enrolling in their selected course. You can turn it off. If you turn it off, then the payments will become due for those students as set by the course. And then you can take for them in your normal way and create receipts. Down here is we have the book lessons options. So this is the second part of the booking system. In this, it's works really well for students who would like to book extra lessons, one-on-one lessons. So we'll take this route this time. You can see here, these are the advertised courses that students can sign up for a one-on-one lesson. So you can set these. Oh, sorry, I need to share the tab. Apologies. So I'll go back. So in here, we choose to book lessons. In here, we have a list of all our lessons that are available. We can select the teachers. So the availability for the teachers can be set by the teachers if you allow them, or you can set it yourself. And then based off the availability of the teacher, whether she has classes or not at the time, um, and the times slots that are allocated for that particular class, there will be a list of class times that the student can pick. So the student can pick a couple of lessons. Again, they will need to log in if they aren't logged in, or register as a new student if you want to allow it to be available to new students. And then they can enroll themselves in classes and lessons. The admins are always notified when a new submission has been made through the booking system. Notification will show on the dashboard, and an email will be sent. The students will also receive confirmation message, just to let them know that that a class has been booked. Over here is one where we can create the bookable lessons. So we can give it a name. We can set the duration. We can set a gap in minutes between lessons. So if we need to give our teachers a break, we can put that in as well, so that the booking system will automatically generate a gap in between the lessons. We can set after how many days a lesson can show. So if we set this for 2 days, we won't show any lessons for today and tomorrow. It'll be 2 days time that we will begin showing lessons for. We can add an amount for the fee for visibility for the student. And a teacher fee can also be added in here, very similar to how it is used for normal classes. Next, you can set all the teachers who can teach this subject. And you can also give a description so that the student knows a little bit more information about the subject. Okay, okay, great. So we've created a class there. Let's save. Okay, so I don't think so. I'll create one more. So we'll put in a lesson gap of 15 minutes. We'll set it so it only becomes live after 3 days, or students won't see the next available lessons for the next 3 days. They'll see the lessons after 3 days time. We'll save. Now, if I go back to the booking system, we can see that there are a couple more bookable lessons here. So again, it's really useful if students need extra lessons. They can book lessons themselves, rather than having to contact an admin person to find the available times. Um, and the admin needs to work kind of in the middle to try and find the best available time for the teacher and the student. This can make it a much smoother process and hopefully lead to more bookings. I'll jump in the chat just to see if we have any questions. Sorry, apologies for that. I know I realized while I was going through it. I'll make sure to check which tab we're on as I switch around. So apologies for that. But I did go through it again, so hopefully you caught it there. Yeah, please let me know if there's any questions around the prospects or the booking system. Happy to go through any questions. And if you don't have any questions, we can jump it straight into any other questions that we might have. We'll cover a few topics if we have some questions. Question from Jeanette: does it have to show the teacher? Yes, because we do need to. The student has the option. If you choose multiple teachers, the student can select which teacher, or they can check the availability of both teachers. It's also useful in case the student has a particular teacher that they want to pick, maybe that they've worked with in the past. But we could possibly look at it, not showing the teacher in the lesson booking. I might catch up with you offline just to see how that would work best. If they all favored one teacher, I guess there will be availability for the teacher there. So, once the slots are filled up, there won't be any more time. So it might be a case that they have to choose a second teacher. Oh, hi. Payment system question. Sorry if I missed that. Is it possible to change the currency of the payment system? My school registered in Ukraine, the bank linked to Ukraine, currency Ukraine as well. Thank you. Yes, you can set the currency in the school settings. So let me share. So in the school settings, currency, you'll be able to choose. I think we have all the currencies in there. So yeah, we should cater for all the different types. Then once it's changed here, payments throughout the system will be in the new currency. So yeah, we cater for all the currencies. So yeah, hopefully that would be helpful for you, Alha. You're welcome. Yeah, please, if you have any more questions, please fire away. We have a few more minutes before we end. If not, I will cover a couple of other topics while we're waiting for some questions around what we're looking to add in the upcoming weeks. We'll be looking to add, share my screen once more. We'll be looking to add the ability to make announcements through the portal. So at the moment, when we create a new group message, we can send SMSs, we can send emails, but we will be looking to add a new feature called announcements, where you can make an announcement when this is sent on the student side or on the teacher side, whoever the announcement is set to, you'll be able to use the same options. Um, they will receive a message at the top of their dashboard with some options there, letting them know who it's from and so on. At the same time, if they have if you've set up the mobile app push notifications, so I just jump into them over here. There'll be a new option for this in here. So they'll also can receive an alert. So really useful if you're using the mobile app, if your school is using the mobile app, they'll be notified to let them know there's a new announcement from this person. They'll open the app, they'll see the announcement. So yeah, just another way to communicate with all members of your school. So hopefully that would be really useful to get more messages across to whoever needs to get them. Another feature that we will be adding over the next few weeks is an integration with Zapier. For those who may not be familiar, Zapier is basically like a bridge between systems. So we will be able to, for example, use Teach and Go and link it with other systems such as Xero or QuickBooks, among a few other softwares. So that hopefully that will make life easier. We all use many systems. So if we have integrations between them, that will make life a lot easier. Some of you might be doing things twice in two systems. So hopefully this will eliminate that. So we'll have obviously more information about that over the next few weeks. Okay, student credit versus ticket. Please explain the difference. Okay. Okay, I will jump back into the school settings. I am in school settings. So with the booking system, with the lesson booking system, there is a new option that we've added. It's just the ticking system. It is possible to, it's possible to set up like a subscription model for your students. They could purchase 5 tickets a month. Let's save. If we go back in here now to a student profile. So we've set up the ticketing system. I will jump in as a student, John Kelly. So if I go to the fees tab, down at the bottom of the fees tab, a lot of fees here. Student ticket. So we have a new option here to create tickets for the students for the booking system. So let's say we wanted to create a monthly subscription. It is possible to do one-off as well. So let's say 5 tickets per month, 5 ticket subscription. And let's just say it's going to be 20 euros per month. We'll save this information. And then we can see here that we've created some tickets. We can edit this later on if we need to. In the fee section, there'll be more information around the fee itself and what's due, what's overdue, and so on. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to log in as a student and give you the other side of how it would work from them now. Just one moment. Okay, so we're going to log in as now. We've given him some tickets. Now, when he goes to book tickets, you can see here that he has 5 tickets. If he goes to select a time, those tickets will reduce, and he'll be able to, instead of paying for cash or for those lessons, he's using his tickets instead. So really useful if you have a subscription model or if you, for example, want to sell tickets to students, really useful way to gather some revenue, and offer a different type of model. Some different types of students would like different ways to be able to book things and set up. They might not want to fix class at a certain time. They might like to um, be able to choose when they like. So I hope that is useful, Paul. Jeanette saying that you couldn't see his tickets. The tickets show up here. In the students, if I go back to this tab here, this is where he's logged in. There's 3 tickets up here because we've selected 2 students, sorry, 2 slots. If we select the third, it will be 2 tickets. If you continue, those will be deducted, and the student will have 2 tickets remaining. In the student portal, there's a new tab here as well. If they're using the ticket booking system, they'll be able to see how many tickets they have left. Paul has a follow-up question. The students are members in the class, so they're shown every week. However, they are absent on any week. Is the fee automatically deducted? So they are, maybe you can get it. The students are members in the class, so they're shown every week. If the student, we've added the ability for the students to cancel those booked lessons. So it is possible to, if they book before a certain period, they can get their ticket back. I'm not sure if that is exactly what you mean, but that would be one way to do that. If they missed a class, they would still, out of their own fault, then the ticket would remain. It is possible, obviously, for you to go back in and add a ticket in case you feel that it's necessary to add tickets. So I hope that covers the question. Thank you for the feedback, Jeanette. Hopefully the ticket system will work for many of you. It is new. You can learn more about it in our help center. If you search for ticketing, let me jump into the help center for just a moment. So yeah, a lot of the things that we talked about, import classes, you will find more information about that if that's really useful for you. Ticketing system, you can also find more information, how to turn it on, how it works, and so on, adding the tickets. So really useful guide. Class types, you'll find information if that works for you. So yeah, please keep having a look in the help center because we do regularly update it with useful articles. So I think our time is up, guys. Unless there's any more questions, I will conclude this event. So thank you very much for joining. Thanks for all the feedback. We get a lot of feedback from all of you about how to improve the software. So we really appreciate that, and we take that on board. And hopefully, we can make this better software for all of you. Yeah, thanks very much for your time, and hope to see you again. Thank you. All the best.